Today is March 20th, 2026. Oh, today around me, there were some idiot women saying stuff in Bob Evans when I first went in. Just ignore them. They just show they're part of the extortion group, or they wouldn't say a word because they would realize how retarded they sound. Retarded. Before that, I had to meet with Carl's daughter and a friend. They had notarized a statement. They had witnessed Carl's son, Rick, on the phone with someone saying he was going to have his dad killed to take everything. Didn't know who he was talking to, though. Okay? And they witnessed him ripping wires out of a tractor that wasn't his, removing a battery, and there was an oil puddle underneath the tractor where he drained all the oil and locked up the motor, got the wires out, destroyed a tractor. Cost $6,000 to fix it. And with that person he was on the phone with, he said that he was going to write up a bunch of fraudulent receipts and sue his dad for the amount of what he wanted out of all that stuff. And he was going to have someone, he was going to write up fraudulent receipts. Just make them up as so. Okay? And they witnessed him telling somebody that on the phone. They did a notarized statement. Okay? Well, he's suing my son Dan that tried to help Carl. Because he said, I haven't had a dad in years. He said, Carl's a nice man. It makes me sick. The thought that they are terrorizing him and threatening his life to drive him off his own land. He told Carl, he said, I can't give you as much money as other people, but what I can do is I can buy it, I can lock it down, put cameras up, Rick steps foot on it, I'll have him arrested, he'll deal with me. He won't threaten me. And he did, against my objection, because I didn't want my son involved in this. But it was Carl's farm. He couldn't bear the thought of not being able to go down there. He had been since he was 4 or 5. Grew up there. And it makes him so happy to go walk down around there. He grew up there. And when Rick showed up after the sale, Danny called the sheriffs, the Carroll County sheriffs. They showed up. Told him if he come back on the property again, he'd be arrested. Danny said, I'll give you one chance. I'll help you get everything off the property. He said, I'm not taking it. He said, I'll help you haul it off to the front of the property and come get it. He said, I will not. I'll sue for it. The officer told him, you're abandoning it in front of me. He said, I'm not taking it. I'll sue. Well, he's taken Dan to small claims court. And the craziness that he put on the thing of empty Lego boxes. They trashed that place down there. It's a beautiful farm. He let homeless people, against Carl's objection, last year live there. And Carl had to threaten to get the sheriffs out there and have them removed. He let them dump stuff out there. Other people dumped couches, mattresses. They threw trash everywhere. Rick was using it for a party place of just having people down there to get drunk. Probably do drugs the way he acts. But to get drunk, there's beer cans everywhere. It was his big party place. Carl had no opinion what was happening there. He just ran around threatening everyone. His one daughter, Desi, was scared to death because he always had a gun on his side, and at times, him and his friend would point guns at her. She's scared to death of him. And he ruled that place as if he owned it. He was never on the deed. Never his. He's just a big bully that he thinks he can rob people. And, I mean, he claimed he had 20 apple trees, 20 peach trees, 20 this. Never planted anything. It's a lie. Danny's like, I wish he did. And then claiming things that Carl bought that he paid for. So we went around and got receipts from people we bought it from, including businesses. I'm not dealing with that fool. And Henry Mavi saying he's behind all this. Katie's family member. You know, today in the car, Carl has a hard time hearing. He had skin cancer on the inside of his ear. They had to cut it out and cut into his ear. It drained and set up like a hard mass, and we had to have a surgeon take it out. It depleted a lot of his hearing. He has hearing aids. They're fiber optics, and they keep popping out, and he's afraid he'll lose them. So he can't hear. If there's a lot of noise, he can't hear in the background. And if I see cars driving around, I can talk at a very low voice, and he can't hear me. And so I did today. Started going over what was wrong with me before when I had the medical malpractice medication errors. And people realizing how stupid they are. You know, you think of that fucked up family, and they are fucked up. Completely fucked up. Not just Katie's family, but Ron's. They're fucked up. Seriously fucked up in the head. You know, back in 2003, people in the church said they're going to have to learn to live with the shame of her father killing her kid. Learn to live with the shame of it. We went in Walmart 62, so I heard some guy off in the distance. He said, I listened to what she was saying in the car. He said, and how that family admitted to an agent. They were lying, that it offended them. I didn't find any of that funny when I found that out. Other people walking by, some rich family thought they could make up a bunch of stuff on her and have her stalked and harassed. Who do they think they are? Just because they're millionaires? Who do they think they are? You know, there's a lot richer people that went to jail for a lot less. And Agent John, back in 2023, where June 7th, 23, Katie's sister Jody, with a group of people made fun of you. FBI Agent John fell for the stunt at tapes before. Oh, come on now. It was only a stunt. You're kidding. And then continually mocking you in Walmart 62 and cackling. I went to leave. That was between 10 and 11 in the morning. And when I went to leave, one of the investigators yelled at her, I found Jody paying for the harassment today, mocking you. July 9th, 23, Trinity Gospel, about 10 o'clock in the morning. Some of the riffraff show up. The FBI wouldn't dare fix this after what one of their agents did. They dared the FBI. Dared them. Dared them. I thought, dear God, they're going to get them. Then nothing. People are like, is FBI afraid of them? They've already confessed it was only a stunt. They even made fun of them. You know, people would walk around me and they say, you know, that guy Pete, he needs to be scared. That agent has him nailed. Has him nailed for these crimes. Nailed. And he can turn this around on him as quick as possible. I want you to think about that, Agent John. You have them. For what? Let's see. Attempted murder. Human trafficking. rape, drugs, kidnapping, selling kitty porn, torture, defrauding a federal agent, and where they're claiming they offered you a bribe and tried to bribe a federal agent and trying to blackmail you. You have them for 100 years. I think you ought to take advantage of that. See, when the case first started, investigators showed up to me at Walmart 62. That agent was so mean to you on the phone because he knew those people were defrauding him. He wanted to make sure you weren't part of it. He's going to go after him. Then if you take July 24th, 25, take that back, July 19th, 25, July 19th, 25. Hartville Flea Market. How dumb are these people? You won't believe how dumb they are trying this with us. Nobody ever fell for the dirty doctor scam, taping you unaware, confessing of crimes, sat on it till Dave wanted a divorce. There's like 30 years in that statement. And they can tell that you were drugged when they drugged her and told her to say it before. I'm part of it. It sounded mechanical. We knew they altered it. And that tape of Weird With Yourself, we always knew it was photoshopped or washing in the shower. But if they were going to be that dumb and try this with us, we told Agent John to go tell on her for calling the hotline before he talked to her. Oh, when they first started saying, when they said how dumb they were, she called the FBI hotline, and these people immediately walked into an FBI office, confessed they were illegally monitoring her on their own. They confessed. Okay? Okay, with that being said, and then where the Hartville police said that agent over case told everyone he was only acting that way to get the drug dealers. They got all the drug dealers that were involved, and then he still didn't pay her. See, that's one of the things the guy said. People have been calling in. That agent even took her monthly compensation check. I know he did. It's like stealing somebody's Social Security money to live on. It's sick. And thank you for calling in. It's how you stop this. You report it. And report it till someone fixes it. Now, I want to tell you again what was wrong with me when I was really sick. And then I want you to think about everything. And then I want you also to think of September 18th, 24, 8:30 in the morning, my car's parked. An investigator is next to my clients in Akron. I pull in at 8:30. Said, I don't want you to say anything to her. It was a medication error that made her sick before. And he said that agent needs to get his facts straight before he puts his name on it. It was a medicine making her sick. And the neighbor said, well, why'd they wait 15 years? I went over and talked to him. And they told me that when Strange thought she was following Tim and Katie, he ordered her to be killed back in 03. And that or she was to be destroyed and get nothing. And they weren't allowed to say or do a thing till Dave said he wanted a divorce. Took him 15 years to say it. Well, they planned how they were going to kill her or destroy her. They planned this since 03. It was over Strange thinking she was following Tim and Katie. Okay? Alrighty. Then I want you to think of March 27th, 25. One o'clock in the morning. Okay. I have so many dates I have to remember. Because there was an incident on March 27th, 25, and March 30th, 25. Okay. Um, there's an investigator out after midnight. He said I stayed up and listened to her. I'm glad she went over everything. I had got it out of Michelle. Now there's two Michelles. There's a Michelle that's related to Katie. That is her mom's niece, and Henry Moffi's her dad. The ones that admitted this whole thing is a scam. Because they were in debt to drug dealers admitted to human trafficking people. September 30th, 25, 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay. But that investigator said, now the pretty Michelle with the long blonde hair, she's the one going badass on them. Because it's just Katie's family. Said, I broke up with Michelle tonight. I got her to confess that the doctor from before was not one of hers, worse for them, and they had lied. That he was one of her doctors. And she doesn't know who he is. Okay? Of course I don't. It's HIPAA. None of my doctors could be with them. That'd be a federal crime. No doctor can be with anybody else. They have to represent you and only you. They cannot badmouth you. They cannot be in it with people trying to kill you and be an accessory trying to cover it up. They can't say a word about you without your consent. It is a federal crime of 10 years. There's no exceptions for doctors. Nor could they release your medical records without your signed consent paternity. Nor can a judge give an attorney a court order to pull your medical records. That is a federal crime. They'd both go to jail 10 years. If you, anything these idiot people say, put what is a jail sentence before it and put it on Google, it comes up federal crimes. They're retards. Total retards. Okay? And the agent said, Michelle said when they had bashed in her head, they had tried to kill her, leave her incompetent, and it didn't work. And as soon as she told me that, I broke up with her. I got it out of her ex-husband that a girlfriend from before her made him marry her so that he could get a job at her dad's factory. And that she'd have free insurance to use. The woman running up medical bills in my name for 15 years was another girlfriend of Days. My whole marriage was a scam. I had chest pains for days. And I had got it out of that family that was telling people it offended them. My God, they sound like retards. I mean, if you actually look at it with a logical mind, they sound like retards. It offended them that their minister called her a faker. Ask him, why on earth would you say it offended you? And it was 6 months later when he said it, and she had nothing to do with your kid's death. Said that it didn't even concern him. Didn't even concern him. Lisa's father had killed their kid. She wasn't even there. They just lied so people would help out. Of course they lied. Somebody saying something mean about me had nothing to do with her father killing their kid. And it's 6 months later. I told you it's a case of the dumb people that lied. Now, I'm going to tell you again what was wrong with me before. And when you listen, it's no doubt that it's documented fraud and medical malpractice. About 25, 30 years ago, one day, I doubled over screaming. Dave rushed me to the hospital. They did an emergency appendectomy. The doctor said it didn't look bad, but the way she was screaming, I took it out. I have a 5-inch scar on my stomach. A couple months later, I'm screaming again. I go in the emergency room. They said, have you ever been checked for cysts? And I said, well, what's that? I had endometriosis. I didn't have one. I didn't have two. I was full of them. They were growing and popping inside me. That will double you over. I have thick scars inside my belly button and around it. There was one time they were bursting in my stomach and my stomach was filling full of blood, and they said if I wouldn't have been in the hospital, I would have died. They had to do emergency surgery. They tried burning treatments and medication, and that caused kidney stones. I had stents put in and out of my kidneys several times. It got so bad I had to have a lower hysterectomy. A couple months later, I'm screaming again. I go in, and the endometriosis had attacked my ovaries. One ovary has one as big as a golf ball. The other one has little ones that are popping. They cut me side to side and took my ovaries out. Then I had scar tissue form in a ball, and they took that out. And my gallbladder from all that quit working, and they took that out. My muscles are cringing from being cut so many places within a 2.5 years. Okay. One day I start bleeding. I'm bleeding heavy. I go in the emergency room, and my one of the stones from my kidney had kinked the kidney tube. The kidney was bleeding. They had to cut me 5 inches on my back. I got a big scar. And they removed the damaged part and repaired my kidney. And that's when my muscles clenched. I was in so much pain that at times some muscles would raise up through the skin like this. After already being clenched, they'd raise up. And blood vessels would break under the skin, and I have red freckles where the blood vessels had broke and blood would run down my stomach and legs. Excruciating pain. I went to a bunch of crackpots, desperate for help. They give me medication. My feet start swelling. I said, is this medication? No, you have underlying conditions. They gave me more medicine, more swelling. Sent me to more doctors, more swelling. I went from 105 pounds to 275 in less than 2 years. My legs are 3 times the size they were. My feet are normally a 7.5 shoe. I was 8.5 to 9 wide. My feet were over an inch thick to 2. They way over an inch. They were literally this thick. My knees are retaining even water so bad that I had to go in to orthopedic doctors. They had to pull out turkey-based syringes of fluid out, put steroids in. They ordered the canes and braces because my knees would slide out because of all the massive fluid. I started having seizures, heart attacks, thyroid, adrenal gland shut down. I'm dying. Literally dying. And when I walked in their office, the only thing that was wrong with me was my muscles locked up and I was in pain. And the crackpots are killing me. They were lying so bad they even said I had level 2 pituitary tumors. Needed my pituitary gland removed, part of my brain. Before I'll let them cut into my brain, I go to my community health on 7th Street in Camp behind Altman Hospital. I tell them what they said. They were like, whoa, we need to have a long talk. What those doctors are doing. They're known for lying, falsely diagnosing people, ripping them off, making them sick, draining their insurance company like a checking account, keeping you so sick you have to keep coming back. Sharing you with associates and friends, doing the same thing, and they're getting kickbacks from the drug companies. They make you so sick they do unnecessary procedures. You don't have brain tumors. There's nothing wrong with you but your muscles locked up. You get an attorney and soon will represent you in court. They've almost killed you defrauding you. Terminal the state to pull their license. I go to Dr. Eli, he agrees. He said, from all those surgeries, your muscles didn't have time to heal. They clenched. They literally clenched. And the only way to get clenched muscles to relax is to move them. You're in so much pain, you can't move. He put me on fentanyl patches. Fentanyl patches are 100 times stronger than morphine. Muscle relaxers. First month, I lost 30 pounds. You know, the doctors, because I had pneumonia and everything from all that body swelling before I got off that medicine, said it's almost like you need dialysis and your kidneys are still working. Probably did. What you think about that? I even had to be on oxygen at home a couple times because my body couldn't keep up with the fluid. It was great. I was drowning inside of my own body. I want you to think about that. So the first month off the medication, I lost 30 pounds. Second month, I'm pulling myself around stores and malls. Got in so much pain, I ended up in the hospital. By the beginning of the third month, I could drive a car. Seizures, heart attacks are gone. Thyroid, adrenal glands working again. Only thing's wrong is my muscles are clenched. And I have massive body swelling all over me. I started in like October, November of 2002. And by April, whereas at 24, I was down to 16. By April of 2003. I was doing my own grocery shopping, pulling myself up and down stores, malls, streets. I even had got a pulley system that you took on a doorknob where I could take and pull my legs up and down, trying to get them to move in my lower back and stomach muscles. Dave would even help me try to do sit-ups because I didn't have the muscle strength in my stomach to pull myself up. And it sounds silly, but we used to lay on the ground and put our knees together, then hold each other's hands and do like a seesaw of helping me so I could sit up and build up my back and stomach muscles. I worked out like crazy trying to get well. By, like I said, October, November 2002, I was at 24. By April, I'm at 16. Dr. Eli is mad because I'm not getting well faster. I had all that body swelling. People get well at their own pace, and the crazy man wanted me to put 2-pound weights on my legs. Do you know what that causes? Extreme pain. He's insane. They lasted maybe a minute. Well, in April of 2003, when I left the house, I always took my canes and braces because I didn't want to fall in front of people. At home, I have been practicing walking for months. The FBI and police have recorded even my mom in 18 and 19 about me taking 1 step, 2 steps, 6 steps. I would fall, and how she was so proud of me that I crawl over to her couch and stand up with tears running down my face and try to walk again. It took me months, and it was humiliating learning to walk at 30. Okay? All right. In April 2003, I'm at that church, and I'm standing at the back glass door. I'm watching Tyler and my son Danny play outside. And he's got his big long fruit roll up, and they're chasing each other, and they're laughing and giggling. And that family walks up to me. Sister Karen, it's so good to see you at church. Look how much weight you've lost. I said, well, I'm trying. Well, we see you out driving your car, pulling yourself up and down streets, stores, doing your own grocery shopping. You're going to beat this. I said, well, they talk about remission. It can't happen fast enough. You'll beat this on your own. Okay. May 3rd, 2003. Dave was replacing carpets in some parts of the house, and he needed the guys' help. So he kept him home from the church baseball game because that was his day off. And that day, because I was going to be going up and down the steps, I didn't want to worry about my knee popping out of place. So I put my braces on, going up and down the steps. Brian Laney knocked on the door. He said, I hate to tell you, Phil and Tyler are dead. I said, they're dead? He said, you know that church baseball game? Well, yeah. He said, Phil was speeding. He said he was one of the lead cars. He was speeding. He blew through a stop sign. Didn't even try to stop. Everybody was horrified. Didn't even try. He ran into a semi, and it was like an explosion. He said Tyler got catapulted through the air and slammed on the pavement, and Phil got ripped into pieces. It was horrible. He said people that witnessed it tried to call strange. He was calling him a liar, calling him names, hanging up on him. And they're pleading, because they're called people and they can't do anything for themselves. Had to have his permission instead of just calling that family and telling their family member just got killed. No, they call that stupid minister, and he's calling him a liar. Now they're too afraid to tell him. They had to wait for the bodies to get to the hospital to call. And the hospital called. Okay? We're not even there. Come July, I finished getting well. Did anything have to do with anything? Mm-mm. From the surgeries to the medical malpractice to the 9 months of getting well, it was about a 4 or 5 year ordeal. Come November of 2003, my sister Linda is married to that minister's son. She was out in like 2001. She caught her husband out with this girl, Katie. And when he went to leave, she went to follow him. And they're cheating. Had my mom follow him, had Lori follow him. She wouldn't confront him. We even sat around talking one time. Why won't she confront him? Nobody thinks she can support herself? She hasn't worked in years. Is that it? Is that why she's putting up with this? Well, it's her life. She knows he's cheating. And we just stayed out of it. Act like we didn't know anything. Avoided that family. And just, hi. Have to listen to Linda cry. But if she's not going to stand up for herself, there's nothing we can do about it. So we don't get involved. Don't put her in a place she can't handle. Okay? November 2003. That crazy girl's still out following him. Don't know why at this point. She comes up to me at church. I was following him again. I got caught. I think they thought it was you. I'm sorry. Be careful. I'm like, great. I'm going to get screamed at. How on earth am I going to explain without telling them that Linda's been following them for years? And she knows they're cheating. How am I going to say? I mean, seriously. I thought, how am I going to deal with this? Well, that was a Wednesday night. Come Sunday, I didn't go to church. I had a headache. Danny comes home. He's 14 at that time. He said, "You're not my mother. I don't have to listen to you." He's 14. It's like, whoa, you're grounded. He screams a bunch of crazy crap at me. Runs out. Josh walks in the room. What on earth is wrong with Danny? I said, I don't know. Let's go over to his girlfriend's house. So we go over to Joy Mendez's house. That was Heather's. Heather was his girlfriend. That was her mom's. And Heather wasn't there, but Joy and her other daughter, Priscilla, was there. And they said, well, Danny's been thinking about killing himself. It's like, kill himself. He's 14. He said that minister wants him to help destroy people in the church, and he said he'd rather kill himself. That is my baby. I'm panicking. I'm driving up and down the streets looking for him. Want to find out what on earth is going on. I see that minister's vehicle at the church. Okay. I tell Josh I don't want him to know Danny's acting out until I find out what on earth is going on. Wait here. I step in. He pins me by my face to the door. Confess you were never sick. Where you been for 5 years? That's ridiculous. Where you been? I said I'd never do that. That's just stupid. I mean, think about it. Just stupid. I said I would never do that. He said, you're a spoiled little brat. Nobody likes in this church. He said, you're Satan, and just the sight of you would hurt the church's children. I am not that ugly. He said, you'll be lucky to see your kid again. Now get out of my church, and pushes me out. Josh is like, well, I go, take me up to Dad. Well, Dave didn't always have these big jobs. He's working part-time at Pizza Hut for a second job. We go up there, I got a welt on my face, and I'm telling him about this craziness. He said, go home, I'll clock out, and we'll go over and find out what on earth is going on with Danny. And I go home, I call my mom. She calls over there and said, you better be giving Danny back. We'll give him back when you're done. Well, she loses it on him. You can't just take somebody's kid from him. And she starts screaming at him, and they're arguing. She said, I'll never go back to your church ever again. And Dave shows up, and I said, where's Danny? He'll give him back when he's done. I said, what do you mean give him back when he's done? He said, you're Satan, and just the sight of you would hurt the church's children. Screams like a damn fool and runs out of the house. Michelle Kagi next door, where we used to live on Lenox. She walks over and said, Karen, what on earth is going on? I said, and I'm crying, Josh is crying. We go sit on the front porch. Jerry walks out. He said, I'd be ripping that door off that church and get my kid back. My mom calls me. I walk off. Dave shows back up. I said, where's Danny? He'll give him back when he's done, and you're never allowed to go to church again. And I'm like, why? And you're saying, no. Danny comes home after church that night. He's shaking like he has cerebral palsy. I'm sorry, Mom. He lied. Okay. Next morning, I hear the car start up. I look outside. It's Danny. He's 14. Taking the car. There used to be some big trees in the middle of Lenox. I go running out there, and he's aiming for one of the trees. And I'm screaming. And he falls over this way. Not forward, not back, sideways. And the car, by the grace of God, just rolls and barely misses everything. I get down there and he's passed out sideways. You know, I never thought of him drugging him until what happened with me. I get down there, I push him over, get the car back home. Josh helps me carry him in. I had to go to the bathroom. I went to grab something to drink. I hear the dirt bike start up. It's Danny. There used to be a telephone pole at the end of Lenox. He's racing towards it. I'm running, screaming. He looks back, and he goes over sideways again. And he crashes in the gravel. I took my kids and went to my sister's. We get down there. Josh is 16. He's like, I'm not staying here with these people. Da da da, I got the keys, I'll leave you with no car. You either get in the car or I'll blah blah blah. Well, I'm not gonna let him go back by himself. I put Danny in the car. I come back. And I my mom's tires, they start nailing them with 3-inch nails, sharp objects till she moves out of the state for she hasn't been back that I know of. She left in 2003, before Christmas of 2003. They kept nailing her tires. They made a police report, and they said if she wouldn't have left, they would have killed her. With them nailing her tires all the time, and what they did to Danny. I ended up taking Danny to the crisis center, and he told them that Strange took him that day. Wouldn't let him leave. Starved him. Screamed at him on the pulpit till he passed out. Screamed at him till he did what he was told. He didn't remember half the day. And that's why he tried to kill himself twice. Toward Georgine Vovusa and Linda at the Stark County Child and Adolescent Center, social workers for the Stark County. The same thing. And a Stark County psychiatrist for the Child and Adolescent Center. The same thing. He was diagnosed with bulimia after that, post-traumatic syndrome. He had to be on medication for 2 years, counseling for 2 years. At first, we had to go 3 times a week to counseling. I had to get a tutor for school. I had to, then he had his doctor's appointments. At one point, they almost had to hospitalize him. He was almost 6 foot tall, and he got down to 118 pounds. By then, our insurance elapsed. I eventually had to go out and get a full-time job to pay for all that. And I told people I had to hire babysitters for a 14-year-old. I wasn't allowed to leave him alone. I told him, I said, I don't have a lot of money to pay you, but I really need help so I can afford to pay for his medication and counseling. And my wonderful neighbors, the wonderful people that I work for, they watched my son for free so I could pay for his meds, his counseling. The kindness and goodness of people help me. Dave wouldn't help with anything. Georgine Proviso told me that she called Dave. Asked him what was his participation in that minister assaulting me and pushing Danny to suicide. He said, I wouldn't talk to you without a lawyer. She said, we'll put it this way. Anything happens to your wife or your son again, I'll put you in jail myself. You better make sure nothing happens to him for 20 years. They backed off. They probably would have killed me. Now, think of that where I said, fucked up family. Them saying it offended them that Strange called me a faker in November of 2003. Her father murdered her kid in vehicular homicide, murdered him. I wasn't even there. They had nothing to do with the years of surgery, the years of medical malpractice I went through, and 9 months of recovery. In the middle of me getting well and living through my own problems. Her father drives recklessly. You know, I did a speed ratio of to lose a limb, just one limb, 16 miles an hour. He was ripped into pieces. He was going between at least 60 and 100 with her kid in the car. Didn't even try to stop for a stop sign. And on the impact, it was like an explosion. Vehicular homicide, if he would have lived, he'd still be in jail for that kid's murder. I had to work my ass off to get well. I went to put a pair of ankle boots on the next winter. The whole back of the heel was wore off where I dragged myself around for months. Months and months. To me, how dare they want pity over my suffering? How dare they? Just because they're millionaires? And why are people worshiping them like gods? And, back in 2003, people in the church would say, they have to learn to live with the shame of her father killing their kid. That family. Lisa's father killed their kid. They need to learn to live with the shame of it. See, people years ago would say that. Now, even years ago during the case, that family just wanted to hurt someone, so they picked out her. Do you know how mentally evil that is? I wasn't even there. They had nothing to do with my surgeries, the medical malpractice, and the 9 months of recovery. In the middle of my recovery, her father killed her son. I wasn't there. And they had nothing to do with what was happening to me. And a minister making up a baby lie 6 months later. So if somebody gets in a wreck in January, somebody makes up something on somebody in June or July, does it have anything to do with January? No. Nor does May to November. It's not even connected. And for them to reach over and say, pity us, pity us. He said something mean about her that had nothing to do with us. And then to say, it offended us 15 years ago. This is when the case first started. It was 2018. And it offended us 15 years ago when he called her a faker. It was 6 months after a traffic accident and Lisa's father killed our kid. She wasn't even there. But 6 months later, Strange said something mean about her. It wasn't connected to us. But we want to kill her now 15 years later because it offended us. They sound like retards. I'm not going to even be nice at this point. When people try to say how it made them feel, that it offended them, like they told an agent, it didn't even concern them. Lisa's father killed her kid. She wasn't even there. It didn't even concern them. They lied for people to help out. Of course they lied. And they are not the new mafia that we decide we're going to kill Karen. And we're going to have her drug being raped. She don't even go to our church. She has nothing to do with us. And it's been 15 years since our minister lied on her. And we'll just hunt her down and kill her now. Because we got offended 15 years ago. You starting to see how retarded they sound? How retarded. It's like Twilight Zone. And people helping out because it offended us. Now it's been 23 years. 22 and a half. Why would you help the retards? Making up stuff and lies for people to kill for them. Why would you help them? Because they're millionaires? Who cares? There's richer people that are sitting in jail for less crimes than what they have committed. Less crimes. So is the FBI saying, if you're rich, you can kill people? You're rich. You can have them drugged, beaten, raped, and run a fraud scheme on the FBI. See, the FBI needs to turn this around. Like they said in 23, that guy, Pete, where June 7th, 23. FBI agent John fell for the stun at tapes before. Oh, come on now. It's only a stunt. Mocking him in Walmart 62. June 7th, 23. Katie's sister Jody was leading the mocking. An investigator called her out. I seen her. Then July 9th, 23, the riffraff shows up at Trinity Hospital. The FBI wouldn't dare fix this after what one of their agents did. And them trying to go after Agent John to be arrested. Saying he took a payoff. He was defrauding. They taped him bullying me on the phone. They have him nailed. Where all the investigators said it was supposed to be an act. Agent John, you can turn this around as soon as you want to. You have those bastards nailed. Like they said in 23, that guy Pete, he better watch himself. That agent can turn this around on a drop of a hat. The FBI needs to. They absolutely need to. See, that's one thing when you're encouraging people and you're saying, oh, we're offended. Help kill Karen for us. That's just sick. You can't feel sorry for people trying to have somebody harmed and killed because somebody made up a baby lie on them 15 years before. You can't feel sorry for when they just want to kill someone and they pick somebody out. And to use, I went out to eat with this one guy. His son had died in a farm accident, and he was a toddler. Somebody thought somebody else was watching him, and they had a lake on that farm. And when everybody realized nobody had him, that toddler had made it to that lake, and they found him floating. He said, these people that are doing this to you, I find them disgusting. He said, I find them disgusting. He said, I lost my own son. He said, and I couldn't imagine using his sweet name and his wonderful memory to harm anybody. He said, and those people using their family's tragedy as an excuse to kill somebody, I find them disgusting. You need to find these people disgusting. And FBI, you need to turn it around. You need to turn this around. Where they said they walked in an office, they were illegally monitoring. That agent, by his sworn duty, should have arrested him the first day. Illegal monitoring, 7 to 15 years. No attorney gets special permission to be in your home. There's no such thing. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements in a court order, Fourth Amendment. It's illegal to be in somebody's home no matter what. It's a felony, invasion of privacy, loss of license, and disbarred. And should have been arrested, and everybody involved. And for them admitting they had sodium pentothal and they were drugging me to get the truth out of me, where they were drugging me with hypnotic drugs and drugging me and telling me to say stuff. And in their stalking tapes, I found out photoshopped washing in the shower and put that in the other room as a smart ass. Was having me beaten, raped under drugs. So when I came out, I didn't even know what happened to me, and I didn't have anybody in my home. And they were hiring drug dealers to rape me. My God, they should have been arrested. And that they were trying to kill me. And for a made-up, fucked-up baby lie. That agent should arrest him. And then them saying that he took a bribe. And they taped him bullying me on the phone. Of admitting they were all in his office. He knew they were trying to kill me, and he didn't even blame them for trying to kill me. Makes fun of me for some guy named Pete. I still don't know who he is. And some doctor breaking HIPAA violation. No doctor could ever be with them. That is totally illegal, and the FBI knows that. It's HIPAA. No doctor could be, one of mine, be working for them and writing out fraud. And I found out that Henry Maffei is supposed to be the doctor from before. The one that admitted he never met me before. Well, the whole thing of it is, it was so Twilight Zone what that agent said. It was Twilight Zone. And it's like, I don't even know who you're talking about or what. I've never seen a psychiatrist for a sexual disorder. I never wanted my brother. I almost yelled at him, why don't you stop lying? And I thought, well, maybe it was the other lady using my insurance, trying to put common sense to a lie. And it was nothing but a fraud scheme. Here it's Dave's girlfriend's dad, Katie's family member scamming him, running a con on the FBI. Defrauding a federal agent is a federal crime. HIPAA violations if they actually were a doctor, and then fraud. And then drugs, kidnapping, rape. These people admitted selling kiddie porn to my grandkids going potty. And Dave's girlfriend, Michelle, the one that was a family church, trying to say she was retired Judge Pete's daughter, FBI agent Will's daughter. Here, she's just Katie's family member. Where Anita and Pam said Mary's niece was willing to kill someone just for the opportunity to date Dave. And Dave was so excited. He never had anybody willing to kill him just to date him. And that poor family needs their help. The poor family and dad. Her niece, Michelle. Katie's mom's niece. And if you put September 30th, 25, 1 o'clock in the morning, the biker yelling at that Michelle outside, they said it was her, what was it, or October 11th or 14th of 25 in KFC, that it was her confessing to human trafficking because they were in debt to drug dealers. This whole thing was your family's debt to drug dealers. Yes. Is that what's going on? She know who you are? No, I don't want her. No. And you had her skull bashed in, raped and tortured because your family was in debt to drug dealers. Yes. And then she eventually confesses to human trafficking people. She sold children to pay off her drug debt to drug dealers, and it was her family inciting my new husband's family to steal everything because they wanted that farm. And a whole bunch more was said. And then you take January 1926, Henry Mafia, how it's him inciting Rick to take Carl's farm and that he's going to steal everything for him. So that's her dad. It's just Katie's mom's niece and her dad. And they were talking March 15th, 26th in Alliance at Myers, that no one's to say a word. That guy that said he was glad he never met her in person. He was telling everybody he was a doctor from before. They were lying to everybody. Running the biggest con on our federal government. Defrauding an FBI is a federal crime. The FBI needs to turn around on them. It would be nice to have my money. And them trying to get Agent John arrested. For defrauding me. For telling on me, bullying me, trying to blackmail me, taking a bribe, and they taped him bullying me. And that they want the surveillance thrown out. They want the drug dealers released. They are going to have the drug dealers sue the government under fraud. They are a piece of work. They started re-bragging last year. They're coming after them. And now they're bragging how they're doing it now. I pray for you, Agent John. I pray for you. All you have to do is stand up for me. My money that you owed, you said you'd give me money to live on every month. It would be nice. You owe me 7 years. It would be nice. It would help me and my husband. I could retire. I need a medical card. And I have 3 witnesses that where they incited Carl's son to kill him, that they were going, he's planning on having him killed. We need new names, new socials. He likes the name Fred. Danny calls him Farmer Fred. He likes it. I have a lot of workers' complaints. We need to talk about your unsafe work environment for your civilian employees. Paying your civilian employees on a more timely manner. and I have a lot of workers' comp claims. I make jokes about that. I mean, it would be nice to have my money. I could retire. I could get my medical card for all my injuries. I got help in the FBI. I got surveillance. I was raped. I was tortured. I got my skull bashed in. I'm losing my eyesight. I'm going to have surgery from being hit so hard. I have the dent the size of a ball peen hammer in the back of my head. I was raped. I was tortured. I was human trafficked. I was beat in my stomach by those drug dealers until they almost ruptured my intestines. I have a large pouching. I have a damaged rib cage, a damaged shoulder. I lived through hell, and they induced vomiting until my stomach shifted up under my ribs. I have almost been killed. It wasn't one of your agents living through that hell while they were surveillancing the drug dealers. It was a little informant that was left in hell. It would be nice to have it. You know, Agent John, I only have hope left. That's all I've had for a long time. Is hope that the FBI would do what's right. That hope. I was hoping one day you'd have Officer John show up with like a medical card and my money, and I've held on to that hope. And I'm sorry what they're doing to you now, but these people are pure evil, and if you don't stand up for the case, that it was a legitimate case. They have people even impersonating you September 10th, 25 in the Tuscarawas County Courthouse, saying your whole case was fraud. A lady showed up March 5th, 26th in Bell's store. I was in the gas station by Sandy Valley Estate, Magnolia. That agent coming down there and saying that, calling me a liar and all this other stuff, and they didn't see anybody around me. The case wasn't that. The case was a protected custody case with statements, threat, and attempt to lie case against Dave and the churches to find out who was behind it. After that agent told on me, there was just me and the cops for a few days, for a few weeks, waiting for them to make the next move, and then the drug dealers showed up. Where that girl admitted that this whole thing was her debt to drug dealers. The drug dealers showed up, and they ran a big con off a tiny FBI case that led into the drug cartel. By Halloween, the California group had showed up. The young men dressed as old in cheesy disguises. They picked them out in Walmart, that they were in disguises. In January 19, they were in Ravenna saying they were FBI handlers. By June of 19, they were with the California drug dealers. One of them was named Junior. They talked about him. He followed me around for a long time. By Thanksgiving of 18, Judge Peters' group from Florida, and before Christmas of 18, the Kingsman from Texas. By spring, Buffalo, New York, and Michigan was here, and others. Help him run a con off a tiny little FBI case that was just an attempt and a threat of lie case to find out who was behind it. I already told you. If you put the dates together, where even in Walmart they said it's Katie's family doing this, yes. She said to put those dates together. The guy Pete Dave hired on his own. And hopefully that family was the only thing they were doing was lying. But if they're involved, it don't matter how rich you are, you're trying to have somebody killed and you're helping pay for it, you go to jail for that. You have them human trafficked, tortured, you go to jail for that. And running a fraud scheme on the FBI, and where they admitted this whole thing was to set that agent up to be arrested in 22. They went in there because they see what they did to me is Twilight. Stocking tapes with photoshopped washing hypnotic drugs and told to say it. Fake dirty doctors breaking hip. It's absurd. But to get an agent to take a bribe, to get them taped, bullying a victim on the phone and blackmailing them is priceless to blackmailers. Priceless. And then, because they think they got him under his thumb, to wait and then get that case thrown out that he was defrauding her the whole time, then anybody arrested to be released. And then they can sue him for millions of dollars for false arrest under fraud. I pray, Agent John. Paymer preached before this started. If things don't change as they are going, it won't be one that dies, but several. I will tell you, if things do not change as they are going, it won't be one that dies. Be thousands again. Those drug dealers and human traffickers get released on a technicality. And they're serial killers that were selling people. No one will be safe again. Please do not let that happen. Stand up for my case. The surveillance is legit. We're sorry for what Agent John talked to her. What? Please, for God's sake, say it was an act. Of course we're going to pay. We don't defraud people of their monthly living expenses. My God. It was an act to get them. And don't let them use technicalities to get a case thrown out that put thousands in jail and saved hundreds. See, the protected case over me is a court order for attempt and threat of life, because I had attempts on my life, I had threats on my life, and people were breaking there trying to kill me. They put me in the witness protection program so they could legally surveillance me to find out who was behind it. Like they said, her case led into the cartel. Don't let that surveillance get thrown out. I'm going to protest.